Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the previous videos, we discussed how to memorize the part that you want to. This video is about revision. As I'm sure you know, the most important part and also the most difficult part of memorizing anything is revision. I'm sure a lot of you have tried to memorize at least a part of the Quran or a few surahs, and you might have faced this issue that after some time you've forgotten that part. Because what? Because of a lack of revision. To give an example, so when we used to do hifth, we had like a class. There was a teacher, the students, and sometimes these people would come, these students, they had done hifth of like 5 juz, 10 juz, 15 juz. There was a person who done the whole Quran and he'd forgotten it because he hadn't revised it, and he'd done it well, but lack of revision, laziness, and all that effort had gone to waste. So revising what you've memorized is very important, not only in the Quran or studies, everything else, but well, in this case we're talking about the Holy Quran. The general rule of revising the Quran is you have 2 tens. The 2 tens are: 1, every 10 days you should revise everything you've memorized. That especially applies if you've done more than a few surahs or like a juz or more. Every 10 days you should revise everything you've done hifth of. So if you've done, for example, 5 juz, you should be reciting half a juz every day. 10 juz, 1 juz every day. So someone who's done the whole Quran, ideally, at least for the first few years, they will need to revise 3 juz a day, and I had to do that as well. So that's the first 10. Every 10 days you have to revise everything you've done. The second 10 is every day you have to recite what you've memorized the past 10 days. So if you're doing, for example, we were memorizing half a page a day. So in my case, every day I had to recite the previous 5 pages that I'd done hifth of. And this is the general rule. This is the concept. You can apply it to yourself and how much ever you're planning to do hifth. So if you've done a few surahs, for example, Jum'ah, Saf, Munafiqun, you could do something like every other day I'm going to recite 1 surah. Saturday, Jum'ah, Monday, Saf, Wednesday, Munafiqun. Or if you've done like 1 or 2 juz 29, 30, you could allocate a few pages every day, 4 or 5 pages every day. Just make sure it doesn't become more than 10 days between each round. That is basically the concept of revising. It's that basically. The difficulty is obviously the consistency and laziness. The issue with laziness is that it takes time. You want to revise, especially if it's a big amount, 5 pages, 10 pages, 1 juz, it takes time. So how do we fix that issue of the time? If you remember in the previous video, I emphasized on that the first time you do hifth, it should be solid, it should be very good. The benefit of that is that when you come to revise this thing that you've memorized yesterday or a few days ago or a few months ago, and you've been revising it, you aren't reliant on sitting down, concentrating with the Quran in your hand to revise. You could be doing anything else while you're mentally free. So like you could be standing in a line, sitting in a cab, getting ready to go to work or to class, or all the wasted times you have in our day. You could be reciting Quran during that, and you aren't reliant on sitting with the Holy Quran. And that's basically, for example, in my own case, that's how I do my revision. I recite 2 to 3 juz every day, just in my wasted times. This goes back to what? Doing a strong memorization and keeping up the revision of the 10 days. And if we keep this up, obviously revision is gonna get a lot easier and it'll help with the consistency, inshallah. One very good tip is do it with someone. Find someone to do it with. Team up, your friend or your family members or someone. If you can do it with someone, or even better, if you can build a sort of a class or a group, this adds to the consistency factor. You have a push, you have a deadline, you have someone to encourage, or someone who like asks you, why didn't you do this? And that helps everyone to keep in line. And last of all, again, we have to ask Allah for help. First of all, this is His book. We are not memorizing any normal book. This is Allah's book, the Holy Quran, and we are inshallah doing it for Him. And it's very difficult, so we need to ask Allah for help, and inshallah He will help us. May Allah grant us a place with Ahlul Bayt and help us to learn the Qur'an and act upon it, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.